Thousands of supporters on Thursday trooped out to welcome the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Dumebi Kachikwu, to Sokoto State. Kachikwu and top leaders of ADC were in Sokoto to commission the party's new state secretariat and equally receive hundreds of decampees from the All Progressives Congress into the party. The ADC presidential standard bearer told the new members that ADC was a party that believes in one indivisible Nigeria, shared prosperity for all Nigerians, rule of law, and above all, love as the foundation that ties all Nigerians together. He said the new secretariat will be a beacon of hope to the people of Sokoto and promised that ADC will not fail them. For a lot more on what that rousing welcome in Sokoto means to him and his party, and what sort of momentum that could generate going into campaigns for the 2023 elections, we are now being joined by the ADC presidential candidate himself, Dumebi Kachikwu. But before we actually have him, we'll wait and take a short clip.
I welcome you to the ADC family. It's a family where we preach love, where we preach peace, we preach oneness, we preach shared prosperity. There's no tribe here, there's no tongue here, there's no religion. We are all one, we are ADC. Welcome to the ADC family.
All right, so we have Mr. Kachikwu with us. Good morning. Mr. Kachikwu, good to have you join us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again.
Good morning indeed. Well, your reception in Sokoto suggests gross media underestimation of smaller parties' potential support in the far north. Do you agree with this? How did you receive the Sokoto tumultuous, shall I say, reception for your party and for yourself?
Well, I wouldn't really say I was surprised. Going by what we're seeing happening every day, right now we have at least 8,211 support organizations, support groups for our campaign, and we're seeing a lot of people showing interest in ADC. So I expected that Sokoto State would give us a good reception. They gave us a splendid reception. I mean, it was amazing. The journey from the airport, typically 15 minutes, took an hour, 30 minutes to the venue. And we expect to see a lot more of that in the north as we prepare for the campaigns.
All right, Mr. Kachikwu, let's look at your wider vision now. You've been quite critical of the current administration under President Muhammadu Buhari. Could you speak to the major loopholes that you've identified within his tenure, and how would you tackle these differently should the ADC come into power?
Okay, we all understand that the Buhari government has failed in all sectors, all critical sectors, right? So if we were to take agriculture, for example, we see the intersection between agriculture and security. Security has failed, agriculture can't work, our farms are not able to work. At this point, all over the world, agriculture is no longer subsistence farming, it's agripreneurship. Farmers are some of the richest people in the world. As COVID happened, a lot of people realized that it was an opportunity for countries like Africa to feed the world, knowing that we'll have supply chain gaps in most developed nations. We lost that opportunity because we let this insecurity fester in most parts of Nigeria. If we look at the twin problems of inflation and recession, the government says they want to tackle this, but the same government is increasing duties across the board, wiping out the middle class. We see what's going on with price of diesel today, middle class wiped out again. We're saying for the last 3-4 months now that we have this persistent fuel crisis going on. Look at the costs to the economy, lost man hours. So in any sector you look at, if you look at the healthcare sector, we're seeing the same challenge. The middle class is the engine room of any society, of any economy. Most of our medical professionals are leaving Nigeria in droves. But you can't really expect people to want to stay in a place where there's no security. And the major issue with security in Nigeria we've seen is the body language of the president. The government keeps sending mixed signals. One day they say arrest people with AK-47s. We've not seen them arrest or prosecute anyone. The people, we have over 2,000 people in kidnappers' dens across Nigeria. Government is sleeping. The victims and their families are left to their own devices. So the government cannot give what they don't have. We have to have an approach that shows that we are looking at everything together from a comprehensive point of view. We can't just say we're tackling security and leave economy, or tackle economy and leave education. Education also is still on strike. Concerning education and our infrastructure deficits, I have proposed what I call the Nigerian Patriot Act. It's an act that simply says that we're all in this together. That means if you're a public servant, civil servant, if you're a director of a company that derives her license from the government, you and your family can't use public. You and your family must use public schools, public hospitals. If you travel within Nigeria, you have to travel by road. So you get to experience what the poor people are experiencing. No boreholes or generators in your houses. So that way, we are all in this together. If we're all in this together, guess what? We'll all work together assiduously to make sure that we solve our problems in Nigeria. Education is not something that is done by government alone. We see the best schools in the world are funded by endowments from private sector participants. In Nigeria here, we do none of that. We leave ASU strike is a government problem. I expected that well-meaning individuals all over Nigeria by now should have stepped in to ensure that the ASU strike ends within a week. It's something we can do if we actually care. But who cares? Who cares? Look at your billionaires. Who cares? Does anyone care that these kids are at home? No. They are the kids of the poor, so no one really cares. But if our kids were in those schools, trust me, the strike will have ended long ago.
All right, but do tell us, apart from the presidency, do you think that your party can win a state guber or a Senate or a House of Reps? I'm basically asking to say that how prepared is the ADC towards the 2023 elections, outside of the fact that you, as a person, is running to be president. We didn't hear much of ADC for the Ekiti governorship election. The Osun election is almost here. Do you have a candidate that you are supporting? Who are your field marshals and lieutenants that you are putting forward in Sokoto, in Delta, your home state? In Lagos, yes, we know of Funsho Doherty, but who are the others, and how prepared, how strategically are they working with you beyond the fact that you as a person wants to be president?
Okay, tell you what, I'm happy you mentioned Funsho. We have a good candidate in Lagos, Funsho. In Akwa Ibom, we also have a very strong candidate architect in Etok. In Abia State, we have strong candidates. In Enugu State, we have strong candidates. We have strong candidates everywhere. In Ekiti State, we had a very good candidate. I was in Ekiti myself. The Sokoto reception I got was akin to the reception I got in Ekiti State. But guess what? Nigeria happened to Ekiti State. Poverty has been weaponized, and the people sold their votes. But we had a first-class candidate there. And across the board, even for House of Reps, Senate, across the country, we have most positions filled, and we have good people there. Greatest challenge we have in the polls, in the upcoming polls, is this. We won't have President Buhari on the ballot. It won't be about APC. It's going to be about the Nigerian people. It's going to be about their stand. It's going to be about their willingness to do something about their current situation. So we'll always have good candidates everywhere. But are the Nigerian people willing to take their destiny in their hands and say, we're doing a 360 degrees and going away from these people who have destroyed our country? That's the conversation we'll have 8 months, in the next 8 months as we approach the polls. It's not about us. It's not about the lesser-known parties. It's about the Nigerian people who have been abused for decades. That abuse makes it difficult for them to want to leave. They have this affinity to those who abuse them. Okay, and it's difficult, very, very difficult for people who are abused, to know their left from their right. It's very, very difficult for them, for people who all they have known their lives. We have people who are 50 years old, and all they known all their lives is that the abnormal is their normal. So it's a difficult situation, but consistent advocacy on our part, on the part of INEC, on the part of media organizations like yours who are doing a good job, will ultimately help to disabuse the minds of these people, to help them understand what is at stake. Whilst I was in Sokoto, it dawned on me that Nigerians don't know what's going on in Nigeria. We have different Nigerias, different. We have, what you see in Lagos or what you see in Abuja is not Nigeria. Nigeria has gone to the dogs. People are suffering. People are suffering. People can't move. People cannot live their daily lives. The issue of banditry, what's going on in the north, is a shame. It's a shame that as Nigerians, we don't even understand that our nation is at war. My worry is this, right? Very, very soon, if we don't do something about Nigeria, our situation, our issues, one day you wake up and find that you can't go to work. I can't go to work. Our kids can't go to school. Because these people that we neglect, that we forget that they exist, that they're a part of us, they will wake up and they will eat us because that's their only means of survival. I saw people who had probably not eaten for days in Sokoto. It's tough. It's tough out there. It's tough out there. We need consistent advocacy to ensure that people realize that this is our only chance to rescue Nigeria. I keep on calling on well-meaning Nigerians, individuals, everyone, to join this rescue mission. We can never continue on this path with these people. Nigeria is about to go down if we don't do something about our situation.
All right, Mr. Kachikwu, talking about the way forward and advocacy, the youth vote seems like a huge potential harvesting ground in the next election. How would you say that you motivate that group to actually come out and vote next year? What are your tactics? How are you going to ensure that you're going to arouse that interest in the ADC?
Okay, the youth base, they have a general apathy towards government and governance, right? And again, consistent advocacy is key. They listen to influencers. We need to engage these influencers. But unfortunately, what we see in Nigeria is that a lot of influencers monetize their influence. A lot of people don't realize that they have a patriotic duty to rescue Nigeria. So when we see people who ought to know better selling or peddling that influence, it's a shame. But we are working very hard, consistent messaging on social media. It's slow, but ultimately this election is not a sprint, it's a long-distance race. It's not what we see now. It's having faith that in the next 6 months, 5, 6, 7 months, we'll start seeing a change. We'll start seeing the aggregation of all our collective efforts from people like me, people like you, everyone. We'll start seeing an aggregation of all our efforts that is now creating a bigger and a better picture as we approach the polls. I have faith in the Nigerian people that they will understand that this is make or mar for us. I believe we'll get it right this time.
Okay, Mr. Kachikwu, let's talk a bit about the choice of your running mate. You've picked, you and the party, you've picked Dr. Ahmad, Dr. Mani Ahmad as your running mate. A lot of Nigerians do not know so much about this gentleman. Talk to us about what informed your choice and how do you think that your team, this tag team, will deliver the votes that are necessary, next year. What informed your choice of Dr. Ahmad?
Yeah, first of all, Dr. Mani has run for office of president before. He's an academician, first-class individual. I'll tell you this, guys. Being president of Nigeria or manning that office, all it requires is someone who is able to present a vision that unifies all Nigerians. Is someone that is able to see all our commonalities as a people and stitch it together so that we can all rally around that vision under the green, white, green of our flag. Mani is someone who can do that. He can articulate my vision. He believes in my vision. And again, you ask, what's my vision? I believe that Nigeria is one indivisible country. I believe that we have shared prosperity. I believe that we should support the weak, the young, the elderly, the poor. I believe that we should provide social support systems for all Nigerians who need it. I believe that our country should be a country where we have world-class infrastructure. I believe that we should secure our borders. I believe that we should secure our roads. I believe that we should promote meritocracy and demote mediocrity. I believe that no longer should we have ethnicity, tribe, tongue, or religion in our country. I believe that Nigerians, all Nigerians, are the greatest assets of Nigeria. I believe that if we understand that Nigerians are our asset, we'll do everything to support these people so that they can produce and support the Nigerian nation. If we rally around this vision, if we understand that this is what unites us as a people under the handshake that our party symbolizes, love, unity, and peace, tell you what's going to happen is that every single thing we do as a people, we understand that we are one people. If we understand that, no longer will we have this distrust or mistrust when people promote stuff like, oh, we need to make government more efficient, we need to devolve powers, we need to look at fiscal federalism. People won't have this distrust that they have right now because they understand that we're all one people. But in a nation where we see ourselves as different people, whatever you do, we have people go to National Assembly and they believe they are there for northern interest or southern interest, right? It doesn't help the nation. So we need to remove all those things under this new vision. And when we have a vision that we all believe in, then we start looking for men and women, and they are out there to start plugging all these holes. They are out there. Imagine a nation where if you take all our states, right, and start having a proper master plan for all our states, for every single state in Nigeria, you start looking at the critical assets they have, right? Look at the people, you do a gap analysis, look at the people, their strengths and their weaknesses. You look at all the resources in that state, agriculture, mineral resources, and what have you. You start planning that state, start planning infrastructure that supports the middle class. You start planning critical broadband that helps the young people in their lives and to sell their businesses and to sell their services. Once you have a state that is planned, it aggregates into a nation that is planned. Tell you what, doctors won't leave Nigeria, lawyers won't leave Nigeria again, people won't flock to leave Nigeria because you've planned the nation. But where you have no plan, what do people do? Today someone wakes up and says, oh, we need to have this road from Bida to this place. There's no plan. That road network does not tie into anything. Someone just thinks, oh, let me put something there. We need to have a master plan for our country so that we don't keep on talking about places like Dubai. They had a master plan. America has a master plan. The UK has a master plan. France has a master plan. We have no master plan here as a nation. That master plan devolves from the vision of who we are, how we see ourselves as a people. Once we start doing this, you now find that the right people, the right doctors, engineers, architects, all the right people start fitting into that master plan to implement so we can all run as a people under one common vision. This is what we must do. We can't run away from this. We can't run away from this. We can't continue to be a nation that has no real plan. No. This is something that we must do.
Okay, so you've painted a very beautiful picture of the future, or at least the kind that you would like to bring about. But in light of the magnitude, structure, and financial muscle of at least two political parties in the country right now, how would you rate your chances at the polls next year, especially at a time where the money play is quite big?
That's a good question, and I'd like the viewers to listen to this very carefully. We make a song and dance about the role of money in elections and saying that the better-known parties have a huge war chest. But I'll tell you this. I'm not new to politics, and I understand the dynamics of politics, and I understand also the narrative that we sell to the people when we make them feel that without that war chest, without something we call a structure, that lesser-known parties like mine have no real chances. I will tell you this. Do you know what my major resource is? You, the Nigerian people. That's all I need. I don't need a huge war chest. If I have Nigerian people who buy into my vision, they will provide their services. They will support me all the way. I don't need to pay them. These guys pay people because the people don't believe in them. They don't buy into their vision. They actually have no vision that they're selling. So they want to give people money so that people can vote for them. I don't need to do that. I have a vision that the people believe works for them. That's what they will support. That's what they will queue up and vote for. The vision that cements them, that binds all of them together. So money, the way people look at money, doesn't play a key role. In better developed climes, what is the role of money in electioneering? Is the media buy. But what do we see? I'm here this morning, 15, 20, 30 minutes on Arise, one of the major news networks in Nigeria. They're giving me airtime. That's patriotic. This is what you guys are doing now, letting everyone have opportunity to showcase who they are, to speak about their vision, what they have to offer Nigerians. That's what we need going down towards the elections. Just give us airtime. Let people see us. Let people hear us. Forget about money. The people are my wealth. They are my chief resource. And come 2023, they will show that this is where they stand. This is what they believe in. That's my belief about this.
All right. Let me try and put Abby's question in a slightly, different form, and which is to ask, first, why should Nigerians that you're campaigning to, that you are preaching to, pick you over, say, for example, the old guards between Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Atiku? Or if we come down south and we're looking at, southern Christians, slightly younger, why should they pick you over a Peter Obi or an Omoyele Sowore? What is it about Dumebi Kachikwu that is better than all these other candidates? That's one. Secondly, it looks to me like if the election is pushed in the manner that the campaign is going, we will end up with 4-5 strong candidates, and that inevitably we might end up with the judiciary, with the courts making pronouncements if there are no clear winners or a winner emerges and others are not satisfied. So I ask you, what plans do you have for the Nigerian judiciary? What sort of reforms will you be interested in? We are at a time that a lot of people are not very comfortable with what is happening with the Nigerian judiciary. We've had a CJN, out of nowhere resigned, his appointment. We are seeing lawyers now coming up at, in courts dressed in particular manners that are not in consonance with what is said to be allowed in court. So what kind of judiciary will we expect under your presidency if you make it to be the president of Nigeria come 2023?
You've asked two very good questions. Why me? Why me? Let me say this very, very quickly. Okay. In all the areas critical to reviving Nigeria, in all the sectors that Nigeria has failed, I am akin to being a sector expert in those sectors. Either operating in those sectors or I have operated in those sectors. So I know what needs to be done. I'm not one who needs a consultant to write to give me a white paper to write something for me. I understand that. In the area of security, I can tell you the A to Z of security is a field I play in. In the area of agriculture, it's the same thing. The economy, any sector, ICT, you name it, okay? The media industry, every single thing. I can speak expertly on what needs to be done to revive those sectors. And I'll say this also. We understand that Nigeria is like a building on fire that's been set on fire by arsonists, right? And what you see is that the people who put this building on fire are the same people trying to put out this fire. Why? Because we know that when there's chaos, area boys thrive. Some of the people you have mentioned are the area boys who thrive when there's chaos. They set Nigeria on fire. They've all been part of this system that has not worked for decades. They are all part of that system. Nigerians will get to a point where they wake up in 3-4 months and they realize they have been hoodwinked. They ask, these guys have actually ruled us. They've had the opportunity to be in government. What have they done? What's happened in this state? What's happened here? What's happening here? There's nothing that they can show, because if there's something they can show, I probably won't be running for office if they perform. But because they have not performed, we now need business managers like myself who are performing in the private sector to come and help turn around the situation here. There are many people like me out there who have this apathy. But hopefully when they see me, people will start stepping up and stepping out, realizing that they have to do this, make this patriotic journey to help Nigeria. So there's no comparison in terms of what I'm doing in the private sector and what these guys have done in government. Huge gap, no comparison whatsoever. But judiciary, my late father was a federal high court judge. Unfortunately, I will say this, what we see in the judiciary now is not the same judiciary that he believed in, that he sold to his kids. 60% of my siblings are in the legal field, you know, and it's not the same thing. But I will tell you this, these people fail us because they don't believe in Nigeria, right? So we'll see jaundice judiciary decisions. We saw what happened in Imo State and in a lot of other places. And we know that a lot of people who used to believe that judiciary was the last hope of the common man no longer have that belief in this, in the judiciary. But what will happen when we have a country that works, a system that works? You don't have to tell these people. They will revert. They will reverse course. They will know that it's no longer business as usual. Okay? So I know that when Nigeria starts working, people realize that, you know what, I don't have to steal billions. How much do I spend it? How many houses do I live in? How many cars do I drive at a time? They realize they don't have to do that anymore because, you know, they will have a safety net that works for everyone. Obama didn't have to go there and steal billions. Presidents of all these other countries don't do that. Why? Because they've created a society that works for everyone. You don't have to be the richest man to have a good or a great life. That's the nation we should be creating here in Nigeria. A nation that you don't have to be the richest person on the street to have a good life or a great life. Once we create that kind of nation, trust me, we are proud of our daily endeavors. We are proud of who we are. I don't have to drive a Range Rover or a Rolls Royce to feel that I have the best life. Just the fact that I have the basics. I come back home, I have lights 24/7. I have water in my home. I am free to drive from point A to point B without worrying about kidnappers. My kids go to school and they have good teachers. We come back home and we go and do groceries and we're able to afford our groceries. If we have a society that works for everyone, you'll see that corruption disappears. You see that a lot of the vices that we worry about right now, that they will disappear. The judiciary will get better in a system that works for everyone. Right now, the system is a very imperfect system. That's why we need all well-meaning Nigerians to join this rescue mission so that we can get our country back. We will get there. I believe in the goodness of the Nigerian man and woman.
Okay, you talk about the patriotic journey, and there's also a lot of curiosity about the strategy of your party. You have expressed over a period of time a proposed strategy of appealing to and mobilizing the youth, digitally savvy and perhaps middle-class Nigerian, as opposed to the grassroots, where, let's say, the apathy level is a lot lower there. How exactly are you executing this, and how effective a tool has this been in convincing these groups to find faith in your party?
Oh, another good question. It's very simple. Watching the elections in the last 2 decades, what we saw is that every 4 years we have about 7.5 to 10 million real voters determine who our president is. 90% of those people are in the rural areas. People like you and I, we don't vote. So if I were to approach it that way, it will mean that we have to look at how we induce the voters. I'm not about to do that. So what do I have to do? I have to convince you, people like you, the digital generation, people who live in the urban centers, 40 to 50 million man strong. I have to convince you guys that, hey guys, Nigeria is worth saving. Nigeria is worth dying for. Nigeria can work again. All we have to do is come together, join this rescue mission, and we'll get things right. Okay? What is working for us is that we have 8 months. Typically, we'll have about 2 or 3 months from primaries to elections, and parties like mine will have no chance whatsoever. We can't get Nigerians to see us, but I have 8 months to sell this message every day consistently. I take 3 to 4 media interviews on a daily basis. When the campaign starts, I've committed myself to visiting 774 local governments in Nigeria. I want to ensure that come election day, no one will say, I didn't give them an opportunity to hear me or see me. When they make their decision, it should be an informed decision. So if you decide that you want to go with the likes of those people who've been in government and who've failed consistently in government, it's now a choice you've made knowing the options you had. But if after understanding what's at stake, you know that you have options, right? And you decide that, you know what, we need to rescue Nigeria, we need to make Nigeria better, then they will all fall in line and ensure that the ADC forms the government in 2023. I believe that the Nigerian people ultimately hear this message and buy into this message. I saw that in Ekiti. I saw it in Sokoto 2 days ago. I'm seeing what's happening. Tell you what you understand, right? My strategy is not to have this social media presence at this point, like what we're seeing some other people do. That's not my strategy. My strategy is to go out there convincing people one man at a time. Why ADC? Why Dumebi Kachikwu? Why this vision, what it means to you. When people buy into that vision, when they understand logically why that vision, why me, it's easy for them to start running. And that's what I'm seeing. And guess what, guys? You will see it. You'll start seeing more and more of Sokoto as the days go by.
All right, Mr. Dumebi Kachikwu, presidential candidate of the ADC, we want to thank you very much. But just to quickly say that some of us actually do vote. You know, every voting slot since 1999, some of us do vote, and we will still vote in 2023. So don't let us.
I didn't say you don't vote. I said.
You said you.
I didn't say you don't. I said people like you and I don't vote.
they are getting informed now, and they are voting, and they will vote. We need everybody, you know, who has a PVC to vote, actually. But we want to thank you for your time with us this morning. Thank you so much. It's been nice speaking with you.
Many thanks.